Did you know that the Bible, a book so thick it could be used as a weapon, hides countless dramatic and overwhelming stories within its pages? Although often considered difficult to understand, the Bible is actually a treasure trove of gripping legends that keep readers hooked. In particular, the final part of the New Testament, the Revelation of St. John, is one of the most intense and wild works. In it, stars fall from the sky, swarms of giant locusts ravage the world, famine spreads, and that's only the beginning. The relentless, tension-filled developments make anyone reading it eager to see what happens next. Today, we will delve deeper into the Revelation of John, a story of such scale and grandeur that it astonishes anyone who reads it. 1. Prophecy or illusion. First, let's get an overview of the Revelation of John. This is the final part of the Bible, written in the 1st century AD by St. John, one of the 12 apostles of Jesus, and also the author of the Gospel of John. The work is believed to have been written on the island of Patmos, a small Greek island, where John witnessed revelations from God, describing visions of the apocalypse. In Revelation, amidst a chaotic world, John recounts horrifying visions, opening a chain of events leading to destruction. Prominent among them are symbolic images such as the Beast of Revelation, the Red Dragon representing Satan, the Great Harlot of Babylon, and the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse, symbols that have become an endless source of inspiration for novels, films, and modern video games. The main content of Revelation revolves around the end of the world and the final judgment. In Christianity, these visions are symbolic and expressed through metaphorical language, known as apocalyptic literature. Other works in the same genre include the Book of Daniel in the Old Testament, For Ezra, and For Enoch, books that recount the fall of angels. So what John saw, was it a true prophecy or merely an illusion? Regardless of its literal truth, the Revelation of John has been a topic of debate for thousands of years and remains one of the most extraordinary books of the New Testament. The word revelation in Greek is apocalypsis, meaning unveiling, the disclosure of hidden truth that God reveals to prophets. And now, with that in mind, let's enter the most captivating part, the main content of Revelation, God's warning, the beginning of the divine vision. The first chapter of Revelation opens with the words, "The revelation of Jesus Christ, which God gave him to show his servants what must soon take place. He made it known by sending his angel to his servant John." This is the introduction, where Christ conveys the revelation from God to John. Soon after, John hears a voice saying, "Write to the 7 churches of Asia." When he turns to look, John sees a figure, like a son of man, walking among 7 golden lampstands. He holds 7 stars in his right hand. A sharp double-edged sword comes out of his mouth, and his face shines like the sun. The figure explains that the 7 lampstands represent the 7 churches, while the 7 stars are the angels guarding those churches. But why the number 7? According to the Revelation, these 7 churches had fallen, corrupted by false teachings, idol worship, and false prophets. Therefore, God commands John to write letters warning them, serving as both admonition and a call to return to faith. The 7 churches are Ephesus, Smyrna, Pergamum, Thyatira, Sardis, Philadelphia, and Laodicea. After writing warning letters to each church, John hears a divine voice guiding him to a door open in heaven. Inside, he sees a throne shining like precious gems, surrounded by a brilliant rainbow. Around the throne kneel 24 elders. The number 24 is symbolic, doubling the 12 tribes of Israel, representing completeness and eternity in the divine realm. Beside them are 4 living creatures, each with 6 wings, each of a different form, one like a lion, one like an ox, one with a human face, and one resembling a flying eagle. Their bodies are covered with countless eyes, symbolizing God's omniscience and omnipotence. From that moment, John's vision officially begins, unveiling a horrifying sequence of events about the end of the world in Revelation. 3. The beginning of Revelation. The Lamb opens the 7 seals. After the initial dazzling vision, Revelation begins to unveil its terrifying nature. When John looked up at the throne of God, he saw a scroll in the right hand of the one seated on the throne. The scroll was written on both sides and sealed with 7 seals. An angel spoke, asking, "Who is worthy to open the scroll and break its seals?" But no one in heaven, on earth, or under the earth was found worthy. John wept, for no one could open the scroll. Then one of the elders said to him, "Do not weep. Behold, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the Root of David, has triumphed. He is worthy to open the scroll and its 7 seals." Immediately, John saw a lamb standing in the midst of the throne and the elders. The lamb had 7 horns and 7 eyes, representing the 7 spirits of God sent out into all the earth. The number 7 appears once again, continuing from the 7 churches mentioned earlier. This lamb is the representation of Jesus Christ, the descendant of David and the Messiah. From this moment, the story officially enters the beginning of the apocalypse. When the Lamb took the scroll, he began to break the seals one by one. As the first 4 seals were opened, the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse appeared, descending to the earth to unleash calamities. The first rider, on a white horse, holding a bow, symbolizes conquest and authority, called the White Rider. The second rider, on a red horse, holding a sword, brings war and bloodshed, called the Red Rider. The third rider, on a black horse, holding a pair of scales, represents famine and scarcity, called the Black Rider. The fourth rider, on a pale horse, accompanied by death, Hades, wields the power to kill with famine, war, and plague, called the Pale Rider. The arrival of the 4 horsemen signals God's wrath as humanity has sunk deeply into sin and depravity. These disasters are not random, but a divine judgment against a faithless humanity. But the story does not end there. When the 5th seal was opened, John saw the souls of the martyrs crying out under God's altar, pleading, "How long, sovereign Lord, holy and true, until you judge the inhabitants of the earth and avenge our blood?" Even the departed spirits long for the day of judgment, making the scene feel as tragic as hell on earth. When the 6th seal was broken, the earth shook violently, the sun turned black as sackcloth, and stars fell to the ground. A scene like Armageddon, signaling the true apocalypse. However, the 7th seal had yet to be opened. Before it could be broken, 4 angels were commanded to hold back the calamities temporarily, marking the foreheads of 144,000 people from the 12 tribes of Israel, those chosen by God. Then, when the final seal was opened, a half-hour of silence fell over heaven. John saw 7 angels standing before God, each holding a trumpet. They are the 7 angels with 7 trumpets. Another angel brought a golden censer, offered incense before the altar, and cast fire upon the earth, plunging the world into utter chaos. These 7 angels and their 7 trumpets would bring the most horrifying disasters throughout Revelation, ushering in the next chapter of the apocalyptic tragedy. The Melody of Doom, the 7 angels with trumpets. When the 7th seal was opened, fire descended from heaven, scorching the earth. But that was only the beginning. Each time an angel blew a trumpet, a new catastrophe struck humanity. The first angel blew his trumpet, and hail and fire mixed with blood rained down. A third of the earth and all vegetation were burned up. The second angel blew his trumpet, and a blazing mountain fell into the sea. The waters turned to blood, countless sea creatures died, and many ships were destroyed. The third angel blew his trumpet, and a fiery star, called wormwood, fell upon the rivers. The waters became bitter, causing many to perish. The fourth angel blew his trumpet, and a third of the sun, moon, and stars were darkened. Day and night were plunged into gloom. When the 5th angel blew his trumpet, another star fell from heaven, opening the abyss. From it emerged a swarm of colossal locusts. But these were no ordinary locusts. They had hair like women, teeth like lions, wore breastplates, wore golden crowns, and faces resembling war horses. They did not harm plants but tormented humans for 5 months, those without the seal of God. This monstrous horde obeyed Abaddon, the angel of the abyss, keeper of the abyss's key and symbol of absolute darkness. When the 6th angel blew his trumpet, the 4 angels bound by the Euphrates River were released, leading a colossal army of 200 million horsemen. They killed a third of humanity, yet people remained stubborn, continuing to worship idols and live in sin. Then a mighty angel appeared, bearing 7 thunders. When John attempted to write down their messages, he was warned, "Seal up what the 7 thunders have said and do not write it." These revelations remained a mystery, hidden within God's wrath. Finally, when the 7th angel blew his trumpet, a loud voice echoed throughout heaven. The kingdom of the world has now become the kingdom of our Lord and of his Messiah. The temple in heaven opened, revealing the sacred Ark of the Covenant. Thunder, lightning, earthquakes, and storms followed, signaling that the judgment was far from over and the apocalypse was still unfolding. 5. The Red Dragon and the Beast of Revelation. Just when humanity seemed to have reached its limit, the 2 greatest calamities of Revelation began. A gigantic red dragon appeared, attacking a woman, a scene that opens the most dramatic chapter of the book. The woman was clothed with the sun, standing on the moon, with a crown of 12 stars on her head. She was pregnant and in agony, about to give birth. Before her stood a colossal red dragon with 7 heads, 10 horns, and 7 crowns, ready to devour the child at birth. Yet God took the child up to heaven, and the woman fled into the wilderness. The dragon became enraged, causing a fierce battle in heaven. The archangel Michael led the angels against it and won, casting the dragon and its followers out of heaven. John wrote, "That great dragon, the ancient serpent, is the devil, or Satan." The battle between Michael and Satan later inspired numerous Western artworks, such as Raphael's Renaissance painting Saint Michael and the Dragon. But the disasters did not end there. John then saw another beast rising from the sea, with 10 horns, 7 heads, a body like a leopard, feet like a bear, and a mouth like a lion. Though mortally wounded, it recovered and was granted authority and a throne by the red dragon. This creature is called the Beast of Revelation, symbolizing destruction. Many scholars interpret the beast as a metaphor for Roman emperors such as Nero or Caligula, who persecuted early Christians. John may have used this imagery to critique the brutal power of the Roman Empire. Then John saw yet another beast rising from the earth. It had 2 horns like a lamb but spoke like a dragon, representing the false prophet, one who deceives humanity. This beast forced everyone to receive a mark on their right hand or forehead. Without it, no one could buy or sell. John explained that this was the number of the beast, which is 666. The number 666 is traditionally associated with Emperor Nero. When the name Nero Caesar is converted into Hebrew numerals, it indeed totals 666. This decoding method is known as gematria, a mystical form of numerology in Kabbalah. Thus, Revelation is not only a prophecy of the apocalypse, but also an intricate cipher containing warnings and symbolic resistance. 6. The 7 bowls and the 7 plagues. Hidden wrath in Numbers. Now we come to the final part of the series of judgments in Revelation, when God's wrath is poured out on humanity through the 7 angels and the 7 bowls. After the appearance of the beast, 7 angels descended from the heavenly temple to the earth, dressed in radiant linen, each holding a bowl filled with the fury of God. As each bowl was poured out, horrific plagues struck humanity one by one. The first angel caused painful sores to afflict those bearing the mark of the beast. The second angel turned the seas into blood, causing the complete destruction of sea life. The third angel poured his bowl into rivers and streams, turning fresh water into blood. The fourth angel made the sun scorch people with fire. The fifth angel plunged the kingdom of the beast into darkness, bringing suffering and despair to its inhabitants. The sixth angel released 3 unclean spirits from the mouths of the dragon, the beast, and the false prophet, gathering the kings of the world to Armageddon, the site of the final battle. The seventh angel poured out the last bowl, and from the holy throne came the proclamation, "It is done." Immediately afterward, a tremendous earthquake shook the entire earth. Cities were destroyed, and civilization collapsed completely. This is the full panorama of God's judgment in Revelation, a relentless, brutal, and uncompromising sequence of destruction. If we pay attention, the number 7 appears throughout Revelation. 7 churches, 7 spirits, 7 angels, 7 plagues. This number carries profound and sacred significance. According to the Bible, 7 symbolizes perfection. The number 3 represents God. The number 4 represents the natural world. Together they form 7, a symbol of the union of heaven and earth, of the divine and the cosmos. That is why Revelation centers around the number 7, demonstrating God's absolute power. And through the 7 angels, his wrath is poured out on humanity with overwhelming destructive force. Number 7. The great harlot of Babylon, the female demon bearing the shadow of an ancient goddess. After the terrible plagues, Revelation shifts to another vision. An angel brought a bowl close to John and said, "Come, I will show you the punishment of the great harlot who sits upon many waters." This woman rode on the back of the red beast, the very beast of Revelation. She wore purple and scarlet, adorned with gold, jewels, and pearls, holding a golden cup filled with abominable deeds. On her forehead was inscribed, "Babylon the Great, mother of prostitutes and abominations of the earth." In Christian theology, Babylon represents a city of sin and corruption. Revelation personifies this city as a woman, the great harlot of Babylon. She defiled herself with the blood of the saints and deceived kings, considering herself a queen who would never suffer. Yet ultimately, the very beast she rode stripped her bare, devoured her, and burned her, an end befitting her wickedness. Although in Christianity the great harlot embodies evil, her prototype derives from the ancient Mesopotamian goddess Ishtar, goddess of love and war, worshipped in Uruk and Babylon, representing seduction and desire. Even the woman attacked by the red dragon earlier in Revelation draws inspiration from ancient goddesses. She was clothed with the sun, reminiscent of the Egyptian goddess Isis, often depicted with a solar disk atop her head. In fact, statues of Isis holding her son Horus inspired the Christian imagery of the Virgin Mary holding Jesus, showing that apocalyptic literature not only depicts evil but also subtly blends ancient religious imagery. Among these symbols, the great harlot of Babylon stands out, bearing the figure of a goddess while embodying divine punishment. The final moment has arrived. Humanity has endured immense suffering, and now what awaits at the conclusion? John recounts that both the beast of Revelation and the second beast are defeated by the rider on the white horse and his army, cast alive into the lake of fire burning with sulfur. The red dragon, Satan, is also bound by an angel with the key to the abyss and imprisoned for 1,000 years. After 1,000 years, Satan is released and attempts to spread evil once more, but fire descends from heaven, consuming him, and he too is cast into the lake of fire. With both the beast and Satan destroyed, the world enters its final conclusion. John sees the heavenly throne and the book of life opened. The book of life records the names of those granted eternal life. Those not found within are cast into the lake of fire, symbolizing hell in Christian faith. John also sees a new heaven, a new earth, and a new Jerusalem. The city shines like a precious gem, with high walls and 12 gates, each guarded by an angel. The foundations of the walls are adorned with precious stones, and the main streets are made of pure, crystal-like gold. Only those whose names are in the book of life may enter, becoming residents of the holy city, victors at a divine level. The angel further shows John the river of the water of life flowing from the throne of God. On both sides stand the tree of life, bearing 12 crops of fruit each year. And so, John's revelation reaches its conclusion. Before him, Jesus Christ descends and declares, "I am the Alpha and the Omega, the first and the last, the beginning and the end." Alpha and Omega are the first and last letters of the Greek alphabet. Christ's words signify that he is eternal, with nothing existing before or after him. He embodies infinity and immortality. The descent of Christ closes the revelation. After a series of terrible plagues and magnificent visions, humanity finally witnesses the kingdom of heaven. Looking back on these tragedies, one understands the depth of sin and desire that engulfed humanity. Only after severe judgment can mankind achieve salvation. It is profound and deeply moving. 8. The Allure of Revelation. God's miracle or the devil's temptation. From the earliest days of John, through the catastrophic plagues, all the way to the restoration of the kingdom of heaven, the world depicted in Revelation truly surpasses imagination. Many may consider God excessively strict, yet this path ultimately leads to the new world in Christian faith. Despite debates over its severity, John's revelation has extended far beyond the Bible, profoundly influencing literature, cinema, and gaming. Symbols such as the angelic trumpets, the great Harlot of Babylon, and the number 666 have all become iconic in popular culture. This demonstrates that Revelation holds a unique fascination, not only because of the fear of apocalypse, but also due to the allure of its vision of destruction. Perhaps, metaphorically, even the number 6666 is hidden upon your forehead. Thank you for watching until the end of the video. If you found this content engaging, please like, subscribe to the channel, and leave your comments. See you in the next video.